Welcome back. Still talking to Talk's international editor, Isabel Oakeshott. Let's talk about the migrant crisis, Isabel. I was going to concentrate in this section on an illegal Iraqi Channel migrant who has been refused asylum in Italy and Sweden, but of course has been allowed to stay in Britain because he lost his ID documents and therefore...
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know, they all lose their ID documents. So why are we the soft touch? We'll come on to that in a little while because subsequent to this story emerging today, we found out that yesterday 564 more migrants came across the channel, and still they come. That makes way over 2,000 in a week. What the hell is this government doing about it? When was the last time you even heard Keir Starmer or Yvette Cooper, the alleged Home Secretary, even mention the migrant crisis? Their border security command, the crack force that was going to smash the evil people gangs, it's just a national joke, an absolute joke. You know, what are they ever going to do about this? This is getting ridiculous.
I actually don't think they care. I really don't think they care. There's no other conclusion than that they don't care, because they've got the entire machinery of the state at their disposal. They've got the armed forces that they've just supposedly backing by giving a load of extra money to, quite rightly. But why not actually use the armed forces to sort this out? You know, that's what they're there for. The British Navy is there to protect our borders and our population. And this government is doing the square root of nothing about it. And each of those migrants now comes with a price tag of over £40,000 per year just for their accommodation. Just think about that kind of money. That is more than the average income of most people, and that's just to house one migrant. I mean, this is absolutely insane. It is political insanity, it is economic insanity, it is social insanity, and they just shrug, don't care. I tell you what, the verdict of the British people, when they next get the chance, I think will be absolutely damning on this.
Absolutely. I mean, it's political insanity, but Starmer and Cooper are going to find out it's also political suicide. It's yet again, never mind the Tories or the Labour, these people never seem to understand that millions of Brits are extremely worried about this, extremely concerned. And as you say, I mean, at least old Rishi and the gang, and even occasionally Boris Johnson, used to mention the migrant crisis. Yeah. This lot, I mean, I literally cannot remember when either Keir Starmer or Yvette Cooper even said the words migrant and crisis. They just don't talk about it. And yet, it's like a backdrop to everything else. I check it every day, you know, the migrants coming across the channel. Yeah. And still they come, and they come. There's been about 2 or 3 days off, but as of last Tuesday, up until about, I think it was Sunday, it was like every day. Big numbers sometimes, you know, for over 500. Now another 564 tomorrow, yesterday. And as I say, the Border Security Command, I mean, what is that for? Has it caught any evil people smuggling gangs? Now, no, it hasn't. It's a joke, absolute joke. Now, this has just broken, or we are about to break this story, Isabel, and it's a big story. Do you remember about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, when that migrant, that Afghani migrant who was based in Sweden, his name was Muda Pasa, and he makes these videos. He's a bit of a TikTok star. He said, "I'm coming to kill Nigel Farage." And Nigel Farage sort of said, "Well, I'm, you know, slightly concerned about this, obviously." And we fear, you know, we kind of thought, well, he was in Sweden. He said he was going to make his way across the continent and then he actually put a video out because he felt the heat a bit, saying, "No, I'm not really going to do it." Have a look at this. That is Mudapasa crossing the channel, we think, either today or late yesterday, probably yesterday. So there he is. That is exclusive. That we've just found that. I mean, I barely know what do you think?
I'm just so completely sickened by this. It is awful for Nigel Farage and the people around him. I mean, he genuinely faces quite serious threats on a daily basis. And those are from who knows where, all sorts of different sources. But we know about this guy, and there he is, basically taunting both Farage and the great British public by saying, look, I'm coming back, nothing can stop me. Let's just, get on there on TikTok and show myself coming across the channel, which is effectively an advert to any other ne'er-do-well and vile criminal that wants to come and make a new home at British public taxpayers' expense in our country. I mean, this is such an insult to the British people and is a genuine source of concern and alarm to Nigel Farage. I know how worried he was about this. I know how concerned people around him were about this guy. There was something particularly sinister about him. We know he's got a terrible record already. I thought and hoped that the relevant authorities were going to actually apprehend this person before they got anywhere near the UK. And instead, look, guess what? He's coming over in that tried and tested route, which we could so easily be stopping. And he's on his way to do who knows what.
Well, I think he's here now, and it's a safe bet that he's probably in a nice 4-star hotel, maybe already picking up his free £45 a week. Certainly will be getting free food, free doctors, free dentists, and will be free to roam the country, unless the authorities finally see sense. They need to arrest this guy. I mean, he's threatened to murder Nigel Farage.
Completely they do. And Nigel Farage had been promised that they were all over it. And, all efforts were being made to identify where he was and apprehend him. And that is exactly what should happen. And it should, in a sense, it should be easy now. Because he's arriving by boat. We've got a whole system set up which involves welcoming them with, hot chocolate and clothing and
pizzas, free pizzas. Well, they're hungry when they first arrive. Yeah.
No wonder people keep coming. No wonder. This is only going to get worse. If you remove the criminal offence of coming in the first place, which is something the last government actually did right, to make it by default illegal to come across the channel, and basically made it so that if you come into the UK in that way, your claim to asylum will be automatically thrown out. That's a complete no-brainer. What kind of moronic politician would actually unravel that to say, send out the message, well, actually, if you come over, maybe your claim will be considered, even though the last lot made it so it wouldn't be. Absolutely.
Just before we go to break, we got superseded by that horrific video there of this guy, Mudapasa, fancies himself as a TikTok star. I hope he's behind bars pretty damn soon. If he's not, it'll be a scandal. But this does prove just how easy it is. He just breezed across the continent. He said in Sweden, I'm coming to get Nigel Farage. I'll just hop across the continent. I'll get to Calais. I'll get on a boat. And he's done it. This was about 2 weeks ago. He's just done it with the consummate ease. Absolutely outrageous. But meanwhile, an illegal Iraqi channel migrant who was refused asylum in Italy and Sweden, basically because he's pretending that he is at risk if he goes home from the Shia military, who he says have an adverse intent towards him. Now, the Italians and the Swedes just said, no, you're lying, and rejected him. He got here, to be fair, our first court said, we agree that you're lying, you can't stay. So he appealed, it went to a higher immigration court, and this court has decided he can stay because he's lost his documents, and going back to Iraq without his documents would put him at risk. This country is mad. absolutely mad. It's right, we might as well put a bloody great welcome sign on the White Cliffs of Dover and say, everyone welcome, especially terrorists.
Well, I mean, Yvette Cooper and other ministers have effectively done that. They've held up stupid little signs saying refugees welcome, which is one of the most dangerous and irresponsible thing any politician can say, because we know, they know, we know, these are not mostly genuine refugees. You know, back in 2004, 5, 6, 7, the vast majority of these claims were thrown out. Somehow or other, that's now reversed. So the vast majority of these claims, spurious as they are accepted. And I'm sorry, I don't actually care if he's in danger, if he goes back.
Nor do I. Why do we prioritise his safety over the safety of the British public? And the last point, we must get to break, but we've covered a couple of stories, or quite a few stories this week. One was a jailed Indian paedophile here who was allowed to stay, even though he was a paedophile who distributed vile images of poor little kids, sex images. He was allowed to stay because to send him back to his home country would be too harsh to his own 2 children. I mean, I would suggest that maybe you keep him away from his 2 children. A Syrian bank robber who did 12 years inside is allowed to stay because of his human rights. Now, my point about this is a disgrace in itself, but the Syrian bank robber, the Indian paedophile and the Iraqi channel migrant, all of them granted anonymity. Why? Why?
Absolutely no justification for that whatsoever. I mean, honestly, it makes you want to weep, doesn't it? You know, the example you gave about the paedophile who needs to stay for the sake of his children, that guy needs to be well away from his children. He should be nowhere near children. Any father that commits those crimes is totally unfit to be a father, and the children need to be removed. No ifs or buts. I don't care for any hand-wringing liberal nonsense about how some father is better than no father. No paedophile father should be anywhere near children.
It's just ridiculous. These decisions are ridiculous, and these judges making these decisions, you know, they need to go back to school. Idiots, absolute idiots. And these judges are a danger to this country because they're letting dangerous people stay. This country is full of terrorists, convicted terrorists who did time inside. They come out and they're allowed to stay because of the ECHR and their human rights. What about our human rights? It's a disgrace. When we talking of disgraces, and what a great link this is, we're going to talk about the budget next, so stay where you are, Isabel.